The very large, very powerful dealership network in America has a dealership body network. And so it's basically representatives from all these dealerships across the United States. They have this very influential group. And they did a vote recently. 99% of them said no to China. No Chinese EVs should ever be allowed into the United States. We will not allow this to happen. And that was confirmed yesterday by Automotive News. However, automakers will bring Chinese competitors to the US market soon, a VC partner predicts. And this is why he says it will happen. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Venture capitalist Steve Greenfield predicted 2026 would see an announcement of a Chinese automaker coming to the US. Now, he didn't mention Geely, but Geely did say that they intend on doing it. Greenfield Automotive Ventures general partner said US entry would likely involve a joint venture with a legacy automaker. One example could be Stellantis. They have a joint venture partnership, a 50-50 partnership with Leap Motor. And Leap Motor is one of the fastest growing car companies in the world. I mean, they are a juggernaut when it comes to EVs. One of the biggest EV manufacturers in the world last year, top 10 globally in sales. A Chinese automaker would probably use dealers and need a lender partner for a captive, he said. So that would make sense, right? Stellantis flagging sales, their sales are going down, they're losing market share. They brought in Leap Motor, maybe assembled Leap Motor vehicles in the United States in order to get around the 100 and whatever percent tariffs they are. Then that would be a way to actually get them in the hands of consumers without enormous subsidies, without having to charge prices that would not be competitive. The legacy automaker in a Chinese joint venture would gain valuable manufacturing intellectual property. So this is probably what Geely is planning on doing, selling, right, its own EV brand, maybe its own, it's got multiple brands, it's got Zeekr as well, but it's also got the Geely brand as well, but selling them through its Volvo dealerships in the US. Polestar, Volvo dealerships, potentially that could be the way that they go. Chinese automakers will access the US market this year, and likely thanks to their legacy competitors, Automotive Ventures general partner Steve Greenfield said yesterday. You'll see announcements this year of the Chinese starting to sell cars in America, Greenfield told the audience at the American Financial Services Association Vehicle Finance Conference and Expo. I think it will likely be through joint ventures with the existing automakers, he said. These ventures will include US plants and workers, Greenfield told Automotive News after appearing on the panel. The most important thing is sharing intellectual property, said Greenfield, whose venture capital firm focuses on mobility and has counted multiple dealerships among its investors. As the Chinese did to us 20 years ago over in China, we need to figure out how they're building cars faster and cheaper. And if we can make sure that intellectual property gets shared back to our legacy automakers, they're actually going to be more healthy as a result. In other words, he's saying basically the Chinese should come and set up shop in the States so that then American car makers can kind of do what the Chinese did and appropriate some of their technology. Chinese brands also have racked up market share worldwide. They're now the largest exporters of cars worldwide by a pretty big margin. And they created a potentially fatal situation for some legacy automakers. Now, interesting is that Automotive News, very much a legacy automotive type media represented brand, they are saying this themselves, created a potentially fatal situation for some legacy automakers. Greenfield said during the session, if automakers are unhealthy, the Chinese auto industry is going to drive bankruptcies. The weakest will die. If automakers are unhealthy, it's going to drive bankruptcies. The weakest will die. So who are some of the weakest? Well, obviously Nissan is. Mazda doesn't sell that many cars. Subaru's not really all that big either. Yeah, a few of the Japanese players, which you might think are mainstream, actually don't sell that many vehicles and are in a pretty dangerous position. There'll be a place for lenders and dealerships to support US sales of Chinese vehicles, Greenfield told the audience. Precedent globally would dictate they'll come with dealers, Greenfield said, and they will need a local captive finance company. The Chinese won't wish to create their own US captive finance lenders, nor would the US allow them to do so, he said. Many of you in the room will be vying to be the captive finance for Chinese automakers, he told the audience. Now, the Chinese auto industry is packed full of competitors who are overprinting vehicles and exporting them worldwide, yet aren't profitable, Greenfield said. Now, interestingly, he said this. And then the following day, we just saw NIO, who've been losing billions of dollars every year, report that for the first time in their history, they actually made a profit in the fourth quarter of last year of about 174 million US dollars. So it's sort of that thing where it eventually happens, right? They operate at a loss for a long enough time to build enough scale, to start selling enough cars, and to become efficient enough, and then they start making money. There's pressure for them to export these cars, he said, and get any nook and cranny, any market in the world where there are no tariffs, where the tariffs are low enough to be palatable, he claimed. Chinese manufacturers have a very strong product and competitive advantage, said Greenfield, because they started their industry with a blank sheet of paper, using lessons from joint ventures, from Tesla, with global automakers. They can build cars faster and they build them much cheaper, he said. At the price point, they're dramatically better. Dramatically better. Chinese vehicles represent a solution to the affordability issue US auto consumers are facing, said Greenfield. So in other words, the US is saying, the government is saying, cars are too expensive. We must hold you to account. Tesla, General Motors, Ford, Stellantis, you must meet with us and on some sort of Senate inquiry, we demand that you tell us why cars are expensive and you basically offer cheaper cars. They're blaming the automakers, essentially, even though their policies are what's caused more expensive vehicles. What the Chinese uniquely promise, he goes on to say, is the opportunity to bring in maybe good quality cars that are sub $20,000, he said. And he's absolutely right. There are heaps of good cars in China that are under 15,000 US dollars. Greenfield said Chinese automakers could still sell inexpensive vehicles to the US market, even if they must incur US labor costs. And part of the reason, of course, is automation. I mean, realistically, by the time the Chinese do set up shop in the US, they'll be able to automate their factories, not completely, but mostly. They've created savings as well through strategies like a more vertical supply chain and shortening wire harness lengths, he said. I think there's all kinds of secrets that the Chinese have figured out because they haven't been burdened with a legacy way of manufacturing a vehicle. This is the kind of intellectual property legacy automakers need. We need to get over this perceived threat of the Chinese and figure out how we can balance the scales and orchestrate the Chinese coming to the US to be a net benefit for the consumer that receives a cheaper car, a net benefit for the automakers that neutralizes an enemy that they're competing with globally. What do you think about that? Do you agree? Do you disagree with what he's saying? Let me know in the comments. I find that absolutely fascinating. Let us know what your thoughts are.